Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode in my Sergio Leone director series where I'm talking about basically his filmography from Fistful of Dollars onward. And so today we are going to be talking about the 1965 film For a Few Dollars More, starring Clint Eastwood. It also has Lee Van Cleef, who is such a brilliant actor. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably agree with me. He doesn't get enough praise. And, sorry, I'm recording this on my phone, and I thought it was messed up for a second. So, yeah, For a Few Dollars More, Lee Van Cleef definitely does not get enough praise by the mainstream viewer, mainly because he was such a, character actor. Character actors don't always get the praise that they deserve, but he was in this, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Escape from New York, and countless other movies. He was even in High Noon, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and countless other spaghetti westerns. And also a early role of Klaus Kinski, who is well known in the filmography of Werner Herzog, another filmmaker that I just love, and has some other people in it that was in the previous film. Kind of, if in the Dollars trilogy, there's some actors that you see pop up as different characters, and the villain in this, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Gian Maria Volante. It's probably Jean Maria Volante. I don't know how you pronounce that, but he plays the villain in the original film, or in Fistful of Dollars, and he's also the villain in this. And basically he plays a bandit with a gang who goes around terrorizing people, robbing them, and there's a price on his head. And Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef are bounty hunters. And at first, they're kind of rivals. They see each other as rivals. But they realize they got to come together to catch this guy who is a madman. He is a complete psychopath, and I would say probably one of the best villains in a Western. And if I would have to make like a top 20 list of the cinema's best villains, I would say he is one of them, because he is horrifying. He's insane. He has these tics about him, these quirks that he's just insane. So, this film, whereas A Fistful of Dollars was, let me see, because I kept all my Leone films up here so I could reference them, was 99 minutes. Leone was getting, he was fresh with the style. He was just kind of going all out with Fistful of Dollars. This film is longer, over 2 hours, but it feels closer to the Leone that we come to know and love in terms of grand, scenery, brilliant shots, methodical and really kind of poetic in his visuals. And whereas, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is a much longer film, that's considered like the masterpiece of the films and a masterpiece of his, even though I consider most of his films masterpieces. Some people would say that this is actually the best out of the Dollars trilogy in terms of filmmaking. It's tighter than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And this, I'm just going by opinions of other people. Good, Bad, and the Ugly is the top 5 favorite film for me. So I love The Good, Bad, and the Ugly more than any of these films I'm going to talk about. But as a film, the storytelling, everything is so precise and tight, but still allows us to go and have these long shots and these grandiose situations, and it's pretty sweet. And I actually did not see For a Few Dollars More for the first time until I was a teenager, which was far longer than I saw Fistful of Dollars and Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I grew up with those movies, but I was a teenager when I saw this for the first time. And I don't know, I think what happened was I watched Good, Bad, and the Ugly and fell in love with it and devoured it and watched it constantly. I was like, I want to go back to Fistful of Dollars and watch that. And I think I didn't actually love Fistful of Dollars as a kid. I know I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And, you know, I've grown to love that. And so I saw this as a teenager and actually was really blown away by it because, of course, Ennio Morricone, basically my favorite composer for film, delivers a amazing score. And I'm going to highlight something about his score that I love about this film. And so just kind of doing what I'm doing with these series, instead of actually like reviewing the film, I'm kind of summing them up, my thoughts. I love the film from beginning to end. I think it's not a frame too long and it's not a frame too short. And I think it gets better with every viewing. And it's just top-notch filmmaking. So my favorite scene in this film, which is also one of the most horrifying, disturbing death scenes, I would say, in any movie. The villain, has a guy and his family in a church, and his gang's all in there. And, you know, the guy did something to him, and so wants him to pay. And so he's basically mentally torturing him. He's tied up. He has his wife and infant baby, in the wife's arms, and they're pulling her away, and he's like, you know, mentally getting to him like, we're gonna kill you, blah, blah, blah. Emotions are high. And the guy's kind of like, you know, just kill me, let them go. And so he lets them go, and the mom and the kid walk out into, and this isn't spoilers because it happens at the beginning of the movie, walks out into the off camera outside, and all of a sudden you hear and you realize that they just murdered an infant and the wife, and the guy is just so beside himself. And basically the villain challenges him to a little duel, and it's in the church, and it's kind of like a standoff, kind of like Good, Bad, and the Ugly, stuff you know in Leone films. He gives the guy a gun, he takes the gun, and there's this music box, and when the music box that the villain has stops playing, that's when you shoot. And so you start hearing this music box, and all of a sudden Leone's score comes up and swells, and it's basically adding on to the music box, and has some incredible use of the organ in this scene. It's a powerful scene. And the music box stops, he shoots the guy, and after he shoots the guy, he like sits back in his chair, and he's like in a drugged out daze, and he's like, and he kind of just starts, I mean, he's psychotic. And it is a horrifying scene because of the situation and how the guy, not how he gets killed, but the mental torture that he puts this guy under with the murder of his wife and kid. And it is an incredible scene, and I would say it's probably one of the most horrific death scenes in a movie, mainly because of the torture, the mental torture, the emotions involved, and it is just brilliant. And so Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood, they have great chemistry together. Obviously, in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, they are not on the same team, technically, and they have such great chemistry in this film, and they bounce off each other great. I mean, it isn't like, you know, they're not buddy-buddy the whole time. You know, they come to an understanding, and they come to the same goal, but they're so drastically different. But it's nice seeing the you know, comparing and contrasting the characters and how they work well together. And so for a few dollars more, I was about to say Fistful of Dollars, great film. And I think this is where Leone starts to really get his full form. I would say that this is his full form, but I personally, me personally, this is like probably his tightest, greatest made movie, because I love, you know, Leone later with his later film, starting with Good, Bad, and the Ugly. People say he just kind of went too much, too out there, too poetic, too long. And you know, so on and so forth. I kind of like Sergio Leone better when he just has free reign and just does, you know, whatever. Like I'm a huge Terrence Malick fan, and people are like, "Oh, his best movies are his shortest movies." I'm cool with giving the guy a camera and just letting him go forever and do whatever the heck he wants. That's how I feel about Sergio Leone. That's why I'm really excited to get to the next films too. But I would have to say that, I mean, Once Upon a Time in America, I mean, they're all great films, but I guess if you, to a casual moviegoer and somebody who probably like studies film or studies Leone, they would probably say this was his best movie, best made movie, and he didn't go too far out there. He didn't, you know, take away too much. I don't necessarily agree with that. I love this movie, but I don't think it's his best movie because I tend to say best movies are my favorite ones. So I still give it a 10, this one a 10 out of 10. I would give Fistful of Dollars a 9 out of 10. This a 10 out of 10 because I had a complete, maybe a 9 out of 10 because I would say some of these other ones are 10 out of 10, but this one just does check off all the boxes for me, but it's still not my favorite film of his. And I hate that I keep saying that because it's like a negative, but it's not a negative because I love all these films that I'm talking about. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave questions down below because I will be doing a Q&A in the future. I have not received one question yet so far, but it's all good. You guys aren't used to seeing me upload videos consistently again, so I completely understand that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.